The sinister story that happened in real life in South Korea, which has many references to the Squid Game, the famous Netflix series. People with uniforms very similar to the one people wear in Squid Game, people trapped in one place, going through sinister situations, playing games too. What is real and what is not real about this story? I have to say that part of this story is true. How was that? When was that? And why did this happen? In this video, I decided to bring this story to tell what is true and what is false. And if you want to know, stay here and let's go. Hello everyone who watching this beautiful channel. My name is João Victor and I'm back to talk about Squid Game. Yeah, this famous Netflix show that ended in June this year, 2025, but also we have many references in real life. I have to say, if you are watching this video and heard something about this story, not everything is real, but there's some points that are real and very similar to the show. Let me explain, tell everything, but first don't forget to check the like in this video. It helps me a lot with the promotion, and also don't forget to subscribe here if you want more videos about Squid Game and many other shows about The Walking Dead and many other things. Yeah, here's the point. It's not new that we know about this concept, about this game. It's not now that we got to know the sinister vibe and such, although we had forgotten a little. We have known for the first time about it in 2021 when they released the first season of Squid Game. And also in December 2024 they released the second season, 3 years later. So the show ended in June 2025, and many people think that this story, these games and everything else, nothing is real. There's nothing close to this in real life, but it's wrong. This show is famous because it was something very new to the audience. The game on the island, isolated from society, that secret things happen, people suffer, die, all this vibe that draws people into suspense and that hooks people in the story to see what will happen. And so an important point, the first important point that I have to mention in this video is that this is not real. This doesn't happen in real life in South Korea exactly like the show. Most of the series is fictional, a story created by one person. The creativity took place there and advanced basically that, but we have points in the story that are real. The creator didn't confirm that he used these points from real life to the show, but probably he knows about this story, so he probably used something. Let's explain about it. In this video, I want to talk about a place that existed in South Korea called Brothers' Home. That you can understand that most of the people who lived in this place were men. And there's some photos, some images that are not real, people made from AI, like this one that you were seeing, but there are some others that are really real. There's a difference. I will also use the ones that are not real just to illustrate the story, but the part of the story that I'm telling here is real, and what is not real I will tell here. In this real story of Brothers' Home, it is mentioned that people wore some clothing that is kind of similar to the Squid Game. Not the same color, not the same thing, but it had a different pattern from the clothes of common prisoners. It is only known that it was different. But how it is? Let's keep going with this story about Brothers' Home. Let's explain. To explain all this, we have to go back to the year 1950, the time of Korean War. As soon as the Korean War ended, the division between the South and North Korea ended in quotes. The called Republic of Korea was struggling to recover from the issues of this war, and they started to adopt welfare policies that were very much about homeless people, some orphans and all, who were seen as stains of war, who brought a bad image to the country. And so, as the years went by, 1960, 1970, society there, the government began to work hard to cleanse society of those who were seen as symbols of poverty and disorder in the cities, exactly. So in some specific places in South Korea, they started to create facilities to throw these people there, detention centers, starting around 1960, dragging on through 1970. But it was in 1982 that one of these specific detention centers began to surface. People discovered about this, which is the one that I'm talking about in this video, Brothers' Home, that people know this name. In 1982, a person reported to this investigation that his brother, who was being abused in this detention center, it didn't come too much, nothing new, nothing big about this. But in 1986, an investigation went deeper when they heard rumors of local hunter who witnessed workers humans being forced there on a mountain to do some activities with other armed people, threatening them. Yeah, from there the brothers' home would be discovered, a place that has a lot of things similar to the Squid Game story. As you can see from this photo, people lived in there, imprisoned in that place, had a life in dormitories, slept in bunk beds. Some relates reviews about this, which also something similar to the dormitory there in Squid Game. They wore these clothes that we don't know the real color, the specific point, but we know that it's different to the normal prisoners' clothes. And over the years, it was discovered about human rights violations that happened specifically in this detention center. Especially here involved forced labor, torture, abuse, and many other terrible things. Some words that I have to avoid here on YouTube. The people who were there, you know, which is as if they were the players of Squid Game, at various times were forced to participate in games at that time, in some sinister activities. And I have to say, it is false, the information that they played the same games as we see in Squid Game, but they were some games that involved a lot of physical problems. They had violent abuse for them, and even deaths happened in these situations, in these games. And so, then we get to the part about these photos. I think many people who are watching this video already saw these photos on TikTok, on Instagram, many other social media. I will talk about it. You can see how much this here resembles Squid Game, a very closed place which has a little middle open with a staircase, colors well highlighted like this, pink staircase, wall painted with design, several accesses to different places. If you watch this video and see this photo, or if you saw this photo in another social media, you will conclude it's very similar to the Squid Game. It's identical to Squid Game. But these photos are not real, specifically these photos. People are spreading these photos that people made with AI, saying that it's about Brothers' home story, it was inside the places where the people stand. The story is real, many points about this story are real, but these photos are not real. But also we have this image, this photo. People say that this is a real photo of the real life Brothers' home guards, that it is very similar to the Squid Game guards, with red or pink jumpsuit, with some masks, black masks. And also I have to say this photo is not real. The real point about the soldiers, the guards in this Brothers' home story, there are reports that real life guards wore masks to avoid identification when playing their games and abusing prisoners, but we also don't know what kind of masks or clothing they wore. It's very likely they weren't the same as the ones we saw in Squid Game. So this image is not real, but the story is very similar. But going back to the real Brothers' home story, what is known is that these people who ended up in this place were beggars, displaced people, poor children. Yeah, there were children there. These children and some adults used it to live on the streets, and the government had the objective of purifying the streets of these people so they can hook them out and throw them into these fields, these places, these like prisons, especially this Brothers' home. A curiosity is that one of the great goals, especially at this time in the 80s there, it was to leave Korea clean before the Asian Games in 86 and before the Olympics in 88, which they also had there. Yeah, very sinister, terrible story. We also have some illustrations, you know, that reflects what happened in the place. You see a person with a jumpsuit, which looks like it had some number, which is not the same color, is not the same thing, but reminds a lot of Squid Game. This person begging for life or begging not to suffer. Here, another one with a shaved hair, which is more like a prison vibe. It's sinister. A person all chipped, injured, and such. Then you may think and ask, what government allowed such a deal? According to the BBC website, it will be this guy here named Chun Do-hwang, who was the dictator president of South Korea at the time, who was the most directly involved in Brothers' home itself, which was specifically this place that I'm talking about in this video, that has more to do with Squid Game, that has some things similar, some references. The information that exists is that a total of 657 people died in this center. And yeah, what did they do with these people's bodies? They buried in secret, they burned. And what do we have in Squid Game? Yeah, the same thing. Complicated, very complicated, as I said. It's not the same story, it's not the same thing, but has a lot of things similar. I know it's an extremely heavy business, it's a bad thing, but let's keep going with the story. thanks to the denunciations before the 90s, the place had already been dismantled there, it had already been emptied, those responsible were already being punished for violations of human rights, and it remained there, only traces of what happened there were abandoned. And then you might think, would this be an indication of what can happen in Squid Game? Because it's not the same story, but it's close to what we see in Squid Game. The island, the games, people dying, some guards with masks, people using uniforms, burning bodies and everything. Yeah, we watched it recently at the end of Squid Game, the 3rd season, and the government and anyone found out about this. Probably in the future, in some future spin-off about Gi-Hun's daughter, about Frontman. We will see about it, because there will be some spin-offs. There are theories, there are many points. We see in the show Gi-Hun, the policeman, the investigator who invaded the island in the 1st season, and the 2nd and the 3rd he was trying to find the island. In the end, he didn't get to do much, but at least he saw his brother and ended up having to take care of the baby and received a lot of money, but his story isn't about money. The 2 times he went after the island, after his brother, it wasn't for money. So he can go after his brother a 3rd time and find out everything, probably in some future spin-off, and this story is very similar to the Rio Brothers home denunciation. The first person who tried to report the crime and wasn't heard was the brother of one of the victims. Such a serious, sinister complaint. Yeah, in the series, in the 1st season, when he tried to tell about it to the cops, they ignored him and think the guy is crazy. Also with Gi-Hun, the protagonist. Especially in Squid Game, this situation is probably covered by the government. Many people already know, but they covered this because of the money. We saw the VIPs in the 1st season, then in the 3rd season, it involves millionaires, billionaires from all over the world, and also we have the proof that these games also are played around the world. We have a game in the United States. The guys have a gigantic power of influence, many things. Probably in the future we will see Gi-Hun finding out about this, making an expose about this story to the world. We don't know. It's a great theory, even based on this story I told from real life. That's a great series. As I said, it's not the same story, but some things were. Go write in the comments what you think about it. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any video, any content and curiosity about Squid Game and many other shows. Also, if you liked this video, go check the like button. It helps me a lot with the promotion. Thank you for your patience with my English. As I used to say in all my videos, it's not my native language, but I'm improving it. I'm doing better. Thank you for watching this video. I'll be back soon, and bye.